Disaster-related information is envisioned to flow from different ministries, agencies, local governments, and stakeholders to disaster management organizations working closely with national statistics offices. Data is compiled and uploaded to the Sendai Framework Monitor System, which UNISDR then passes relevant data to the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs for the SDG reporting. Institutional arrangements for the Monitor system starts with nomination of a Sendai Framework focal point. Other relevant institutions, such as contributing ministries to be engaged in the monitoring process, are also selected, with roles and responsibilities clearly defined for each institution. The Sendai Monitor system has 4 clear roles, including coordinator, contributors, validator, and observers. The coordinator is in charge of setting up the Monitor system, which includes tasks like adding users, configuring hazards and other national metadata, which is the basic country profile information like population or currency, and creating national custom indicators. To assign more than one coordinator per country, please contact a UNISDR representative. Countries are discouraged from having more than 3 coordinators, as this could cause confusion between users and reduce control of the country profile on the system. Depending on the access granted by coordinators, contributors are the individuals who will physically enter data for their assigned indicators and submit for validation. Contributors can be government officials from various ministries, and if a country wishes to, they could also be non-government officers. For example, if an NGO is particularly skilled in collecting data on people under the poverty line or with disabilities, full or partial access can be granted for these contributors to fill in specific targets or indicators. The validator checks to make sure the required data entry by contributors is correct and approves on the system. Once the data is validated, the data becomes public and can be used by UNISDR for reporting purposes. While data validated for global targets go public, data for custom targets can remain private if the country wishes to. Until the data is validated on the system, it essentially remains in draft form. Data can be altered both before and after it is validated. Observers are an optional role for the Sendai Monitor system and are people that have read-only access to reported data. For example, these may be individuals working closely with a relevant ministry or organization that want to be involved in reporting but do not have the access to change or add to data. This may be the office of the president or prime minister who may wish to observe and keep track of reporting progress. Ideally, the coordinator of the Sendai Monitor is also the Sendai Framework focal point, and contributors are people from different ministries and departments. It is often the case that one individual may have multiple roles. For example, the coordinator may also be contributor for relevant data and may act as validator as well. Institutional setup should follow what makes sense for the country, but the roles and responsibilities of individuals involved should be clearly defined both in and outside of the system. In the first cycle of reporting in 2018, many countries chose to have the National Disaster Management Office, or NDMO, to be the focal point for the data collection from all relevant ministries such as health, education, and agriculture, and the NDMO entered data given to them by those agencies directly into the monitor. It is important to note that in this arrangement, validation of data does not necessarily mean verification that data given by the other ministries is right or wrong, but rather verification that data entered into the system by the NDMO is the same as the data given to them by the other ministry. To clearly identify institutional roles, it can be helpful to map out where data will come from and who is responsible for that data within your country. You can try to fill out this spreadsheet as an exercise to reflect on your country's institutional setup. For a hypothetical country, the coordinator and validator for indicators for target A may be the National Disaster Management Organization. Contributors may be the Ministry of Health and the police force, while the owner of the data, or primary focal point for the indicator, may be the ministry. A possible observer may be the Red Cross. In this way, mapping out your country's system can help you to better understand the flow of data within your country. The spreadsheet can be found at the end of this module.